Stockholm, Sweden, April 25, 2012. The streets of Stockholm became the backdrop for one of Europe's most notorious motorcycle pursuits. A young man on a green Kawasaki ZX-10R sport bike was spotted violating traffic laws. What seemed at first like a routine stop quickly escalated when officers realized the rider lacked a motorcycle license and was pushing a 1000 CAC Superbike to its limits. The moment patrol units moved in, the rider twisted the throttle, launching the machine forward in a deafening roar. Speeds climbed well past 200 kilometers per hour as the ZX-10R blasted down city streets. Ground units struggled to maintain visual contact, forcing police to deploy a helicopter equipped with infrared cameras. The chase, which began as a violation, now stretched into a high-intensity aerial and ground operation. From above, the helicopter tracked the rider weaving through traffic, taking sharp corners at impossible speeds, and darting into suburban stretches in a desperate bid to escape. The bike's aftermarket exhaust echoed through narrow streets, drawing the attention of stunned residents and bystanders. Yet the more the rider pushed, the more errors crept into his movements. At that velocity, control was fleeting. For more than 30 minutes, radio chatter recorded the coordinated containment efforts. Officers attempted to predict his route, placing ground units strategically at intersections. But the motorcycle's raw power allowed him to slip past again and again. The footage captured the intensity of the pursuit. Sirens wailing below, rotor blades thundering above, and a lone rider defying every order to stop. The chase ended not with a cinematic escape, but with a violent crash. Approaching a traffic barrier at high speed, the rider failed to slow down. The ZX-10R slammed into the obstruction, nearly destroying the motorcycle and causing hours of disruption as emergency crews worked the scene. The rider did not survive. The Stockholm pursuit became infamous across Europe, widely shared as both a cautionary tale and a case study in police tactics. It demonstrated how modern technology, helicopters, infrared cameras, and coordinated ground units can corner even the fastest of machines. But it also revealed the tragic reality. No matter the horsepower or skill, reckless speed against the law always narrows down to two possible outcomes. Atlanta, Georgia, February 12, 2022. On February 12, 2022, the bustling freeways of Atlanta became the scene of a chase that showcased just how quickly a motorcycle pursuit can spiral out of control. An officer on patrol near the southbound entrance ramp of I-75/85 spotted a 2021 Honda CBR 1000RR blasting past at breathtaking speed. The rider ignored both traffic lights and flashing emergency signals, setting the stage for a pursuit that would stretch across multiple highways. The CBR 1000RR, one of the fastest production motorcycles in the world, was pushed to its limits. Speeds exceeded 160 miles per hour, as the rider darted between vehicles, weaving through heavy traffic with reckless abandon. Dashcams and aerial surveillance recorded the chaos as ground units struggled to maintain visual contact while the police helicopter relayed precise updates overhead. As the pursuit spilled eastward onto I-20, officers tightened coordination. Every maneuver carried immense risk. The rain-slick road surface, dense clusters of cars, and the sheer velocity of the motorcycle left no room for error. For officers, the priority became less about closing distance and more about anticipating where the rider might make a mistake. That mistake came sooner than expected. Exiting at Turner Hill Road, the rider attempted to maintain extreme speed while taking sharp turns through suburban routes. The footage showed the CBR weaving through blind intersections, the roar of its engine drowning out sirens. In a final push to evade capture, the motorcycle collided with the rear of a patrol vehicle strategically positioned along the rider's path. The impact was minor compared to the velocity involved, but it was enough. The rider lost control, slid off balance, and was immediately surrounded by pursuing officers. The man, identified as Burry A. Bryan, was taken into custody without further resistance. He was charged with speeding, reckless driving, and fleeing law enforcement, adding to an already long list of traffic violations. The chase became a case study in both risk and restraint. Officers had allowed the helicopter to track much of the pursuit, rather than forcing unnecessary contact at highway speeds. And in the end, it was the suspect's own miscalculation, colliding with a patrol car, that sealed his arrest. March 3rd, 2022, just before 3:46 a.m. when the call came in. Troop A Communications alerted Corporal Hobbs that Bartow County deputies were in a high-speed pursuit of a motorcycle.
Copy, northbound left lane. Copy, weaving all over the roadway.
The chase had already ripped across county lines and was now entering Gordon County, barreling north toward Whitfield County. They were asking for state patrol backup.
Everybody, all you should be advised, we've got Whitfield County on the line. They have been advised, they will not assist, folks.
As the radio chatter filled the patrol cars, troopers scrambled to intercept. Corporal Hobbs was miles away on the north end of Catoosa County, but another trooper in Gordon County swung off the 320 ramp to reposition northbound. That is when the flashing of a single headlight cut through the darkness. A motorcycle screamed past at impossible speed, weaving through lanes, hotly pursued by a swarm of marked police units with lights and sirens screaming into the night.
Copy, left lane 336. Copy, back at 336. Request 153 unit.
The trooper merged in, running full emergency equipment, chasing as the bike darted forward. Trooper Weaver joined in, overtaking to assume primary pursuit, while the unmarked trooper dropped into secondary. But the chase quickly turned chaotic. Weaver's patrol car suddenly lost power, and the unmarked trooper was forced to take lead again near the 329-mile marker.
Copy,
At speeds pushing the motorcycle to its limit, the rider fought to keep control as the bike wobbled violently. The trooper attempted tactical maneuvers, cutting in front of the motorcycle, trying to channel it toward the shoulder. Twice the trooper forced the rider to slow down, only for the suspect to dart around him, throttle wide open, and disappear into the darkness again. The pursuit stretched north, multiple agencies cycling in. Bartow County deputies, troopers, and corporal. Hobbs himself all tried to block the rider, but each time he found the smallest gap to slip through and rocket away. By the time the chase passed the 336-mile marker, it was clear they were heading straight for Tennessee. Troop A Communications relayed word across state lines. Finally, near mile marker 348, deputies had staged for assistance. The suspect, still pushing the motorcycle beyond control, made a desperate exit onto the ramp. His gamble backfired. At the top, as he tried to cross Highway 151 at reckless speed, he lost control. The bike slid out from under him and crashed hard.
He's 1050.
After more than 20 miles of adrenaline and near collisions, it was over in seconds. Deputies and troopers swarmed in, taking the suspect into custody without further incident. The rider complained of back pain, and medics were called to the scene. What started as a single headlight in the dark had turned into one of the most relentless chases across county lines that night. On October 25, 2024, when Corporal Taylor Elkins spotted trouble on Interstate 49. 4 motorcycles thundered past, flying well over 90 miles per hour, weaving dangerously through traffic. One in particular matched his description, and it was not slowing down.
1037.
Copy 237, ring all units 263.
Troopers positioned themselves to intercept near Elm Springs Road. As one patrol car pulled in behind the suspect bike, lights flashing, the rider punched the throttle. He blew through a red light and shot northbound onto I-49, instantly pushing speeds over 130 miles per hour. Traffic scattered as the motorcycle swerved across all 3 lanes, reckless and blind to the danger. Cars jerked to the shoulder, horns blared, and still the rider tore ahead. The chase stretched over mile markers 83 and 85, through intersections where red lights meant nothing. Walnut Street, 46th Street, Olive Street. The bike used every road as a racetrack, cutting through the wrong lanes, running head-on toward traffic with no regard for anyone else. Troopers stayed tight on him. At one point, an officer pulled alongside to force compliance, but the rider clipped the left rear of the patrol unit and kept going like a ghost slipping through the night. chase reached its breaking point at 8th Street. The rider, running hot into an intersection, found himself staring down a westbound vehicle in his lane. With no way out, a trooper made the move. He cut alongside, using his patrol car to push the motorcycle into the curb. Metal shrieked, sparks flew, and the suspect was thrown from the bike, rolling hard onto the pavement.
Get on the ground, now!
The trooper was out instantly, shouting commands, but the rider resisted. On the ground, he thrashed and fought, refusing handcuffs. The struggle was short-lived. With controlled force, the trooper secured his arms, and the suspect finally relented.
Stop! Stop! Stop!
He was identified as Gabriel Medina Garcia. EMS checked him at the scene, though he insisted he was uninjured. His night ended not in freedom on the open road, but in handcuffs, booked into Washington County Detention Center. The charges stacked up like a rap sheet of recklessness: felony fleeing, reckless driving, speeding, unsafe lane changes, running red lights, no motorcycle endorsement, and more. Number 5. Night had already fallen over Northwest 2nd Avenue when the call lit up the radio. A criminal interdiction unit was patrolling with K9 gunner, and 2 motorcycles tore past at a reckless pace. What looked like 2 riders on a joyride became a high-speed attempt to run from the law.
You all brothers playing the lanes going to the front.
A motorcycle taking off on FHP. Boy, he's on 199 on 2nd Avenue.
Felony Officer Botello and his K9 unit closed in to intercept. As they moved to overtake, both bikes hit the gas and ran a steady red light at Northwest 7th Avenue and Northwest 191st Street. The chase went from dangerous to desperate in an instant.
Male green shirt, jeans, female on the other motorcycle, breaking the black t-shirt, pushing the place out of 100.
Whoever's on this legs up in front of me, and have one motorcycle behind you, which is the female. All right, southbound approaching the Golden Glades. Speeds of 100. Traffic is still medium.
The motorcycles poured east on 199th Street with officers on their tails. The drivers treated red lights like suggestions and pushed through intersections at high speed. As they reached the Golden Glades interchange, the pair split up. The male rider peeled off toward US 441. The female rider stayed on Interstate 95 and kept running, weaving through traffic and treating the shoulder like her own lane.
Motorcycle separated. The male went on the Glades, exited to 826. We're after the female southbound, I-95 still, passing the Golden Glades.
Speeds climbed into the 90 to 110 mile per hour range as officers fought to keep pace. Felony Officer Hernandez joined and took primary while Botello and his K9 kept the secondary position. The female rider cut off lanes, ran red lights at exit ramps, and twice forced sudden dangerous lane changes that sent nearby drivers scrambling for safety. Exit after exit offered no relief. The rider blasted off Northwest 103rd Street, made a reckless left, and rejoined I-95 northbound. She used the shoulder to gain ground. then exited onto Northwest 151st and turned south into oncoming lanes, almost causing head-on collisions more than once.
With the slick up.
All right, I'm secondary unit now, Miami. Southbound, passing 125. Traffic is still medium.
Every attempt by patrol units to box her in was met with evasive sprints. Then, in a chaotic split-second scramble near Northwest 7th Avenue, she tried a last-minute evasive maneuver and struck the left side of a patrol car. The impact threw her from the motorcycle, and she hit the pavement hard.
Signal 4, signal 4.
Officers rushed to her. She fell from the bike and they moved in to secure her. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and EMS were called immediately. The female rider, later identified as Daniela M. Montoya, was taken to Aventura Hospital for medical treatment. She was in custody by 9:55 p.m. The scene was ugly and fast. A pair of motorcycles that once roared away from a routine stop ended with one rider injured, one rider captured, and 3 patrol units breathing a collective sigh of relief. The K-9 that had ridden along that night stayed calm in the chaos, ready if called, while officers processed the scene and spoke to witnesses shaken by the close calls. August 17, 2025, Grand Blanc Township Patrol received reports of a black motorcycle racing west at more than 100 miles per hour along Brace Road. The morning was clear, and traffic light offering the rider open space and opportunity for speed. Officers positioned ahead of the route prepared to intervene once visual confirmation arrived. Dispatch relayed the movement as the pursuit formed along the edge of town.
Copy, black male, accident, black helmet, speeds of 100, approaching Hemville. And someone...
Moments later, the motorcycle appeared in view crossing into Hemville Road before slowing near a turn. Officers closed in with sirens and emergency lights as the pursuit neared its end. The rider finally stopped, and the tense movement gave way to controlled action as officers secured the scene. Every motion was deliberate, each step measured to ensure the situation remained stable.
Thank you.
Alright, through Hemphill, blue the light there. And we're stopping here. Westbound.
The pursuit itself had lasted only minutes, but carried the danger of hours. The officers who responded relied on clear judgment and coordination, rather than speed or confrontation. Once control was established, the rider was detained for investigation and medical evaluation, ensuring safety for everyone involved.
You better stop right now! Get on the ground right now! Get on the ground! Right now! Get on the ground! Get your hands up, fucker! Get him out now!
The road cleared as surrounding traffic paused, creating a safe perimeter for resolution. The suspect was detained without resistance, and medical checks ensured stability following the rapid deceleration. The incident concluded within minutes, yet carried the weight of what might have unfolded differently had timing faltered. Grand Blanc Township's case demonstrated professionalism through precision rather than confrontation. The coordination between responding units highlighted the value of planning over impulse in high-speed encounters. Each participant understood that success in pursuit is measured not by capture alone, but by the safety preserved along the way. Michigan's quiet suburb resumed its rhythm, leaving only the memory of a chase controlled to completion. Case 6, the Interstate 430 encounter, Arkansas, May 16, 2024. Around 9:14 p.m. patrol units traveled along Interstate 430 North, near the 8-mile marker when a motorcycle ahead began drifting across lanes. The erratic pattern drew attention, and officers moved to observe, maintaining steady distance. The rider shifted from one side to another, disregarding lane markings until patrol lights signaled him to stop. For several tense moments, the motorcycle continued before pulling onto the shoulder near Treasure Hill. The stop was tense but brief. Officers approached with caution, following procedure to ensure safety on both sides. The suspect complied and was secured without escalation. A search revealed documentation, and the motorcycle was processed for record verification. The cause of the stop stemmed from unsafe lane changes rather than deliberate flight. Yet the tension reflected the unpredictability of roadside encounters. The event ended quietly, though its message echoed louder than the engines that filled it. The officers treated the case as a lesson in patience and proportion, maintaining professionalism even in uncertainty. Their restraint kept a minor violation from becoming a major incident.
Hey, stop right there! Get on the ground! Okay. Get on the ground! Okay. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Put your hands behind your back.
Yes, sir.
The event that began with erratic driving ended as a lawful stop handled without confrontation. Officers documented the occurrence, noting the necessity of caution in every roadside contact. No injuries occurred, no property was damaged, and the suspect was processed according to procedure before release for further review. The Interstate 430 case may have lacked the drama of high-speed pursuit, yet carried equal significance. It illustrated how composure sustains authority and how restraint prevents conflict. Even in moments that begin uncertain, the steady adherence to training maintains order on open highways. On that Arkansas evening, calm judgment turned a potential pursuit into a quiet resolution, reminding all that control remains the strongest form of command.